Hello, my name is Mike Watts. I'm Professor of Education here at Brunel, talking to you about the programs that we run in education. We're principally an organisation that trains teachers for schools, but not exclusively, because we have a number of other programs that are broadly in education. The teacher education programs are postgraduate. We have two, one in primary education and one in secondary education. The work that we do with training teachers, of course, is based largely in schools and partly theoretically here in the university. That's the theoretical parts of the course. The undergraduate programs we run are one in contemporary education. It's a BA, and we're particularly pleased with this program because it relates not necessarily to formal education, but to all of that other kind of education that takes place in life, in the community, in society, and so on. It's very much a placement program, so that the students who come on that program are expected to be out in, say, field centres or museum work, in hospitals, in companies, and so on. It's very much experientially based, and we draw on that experience during the course of the program, during the course of the year. The other programs we run are postgraduate programs in masters in education, and that's very much more a theoretical program that relates to education in general, but you can be quite specific in terms of special educational needs or educational management and so on. Beyond that, we have two doctoral study programs. The first is a professionally orientated degree called the Doctor in Education, and the second of those is a straight PhD, Doctor of Philosophy in Education. Both of those are offered in part-time mode and in full-time mode. The normal expectation is that you would complete a doctorate in about 3 years in full-time study and 5 years in part-time study. We have a range of ways in which we deal with the teaching and learning on these various programs. We have small group work where you're expected to work alongside your colleagues and peers, generally speaking in twos and threes. We have tutorial groups and lecture groups of around about 30 students with one lecturer. On occasions you'll be in what we call a mass lecture, where there might be 165 people, for example, on the primary PG Cert program. And not too many of those, but after each of those kinds of large lecture formats, we then break up into tutorial groups and work much more closely with individual students. You will in time come in contact with your personal tutor or your supervisors, your dissertation tutors, and so on. Usually those are one-to-one sessions, and where you're able to work much more closely, of course, with the individual academic member of staff. We are great believers in research-led teaching, and that means that we bring contemporary elements of research into the classroom at almost every opportunity that we have. More commonly, we bring our own academic research into the classroom, so that what you're doing is being critical of the kind of research that we ourselves are doing. We take every opportunity to do that, so that you get to look and see what kinds of research are going on in education. The placements that we enact are ones that put you in the position of having to do some research, so that you're actually out in a placement working with other people, working with young children, whatever it happens to be, where you are required to undertake analysis, collect data, collect evidence of various ideas and theories, and bring those back to the classroom. The purpose of the classroom is often to help you undertake analysis of all of that action, so that you get greater insights in what you're doing. One of the key elements of all of our programs is that you are critical. We often call it critical analysis, or ask you to undertake critical reading, to be critically reflective of what you're doing. But the word criticality crops up in almost all of the things that we do. So that when you're out in placement, or when you're sitting in the lecture theatre, when you're working alongside your colleagues or talking to members of staff, we ask that you are critical. And that's not a negative thing, but it's simply that act of asking questions all of the time, being an inquiry-based learner. That's one of the parts of the jargon that we used, so that criticality comes out in everything that you're doing. We're very proud of the fact that all of the programs in education are vocationally orientated. So that what that means is you're not guaranteed, but you're directed towards employment as soon as you finish the course. So for example, all of our teacher education programs naturally lead to a job either as a primary school teacher or a secondary school teacher. The undergraduate program in contemporary education is heavily orientated towards employability, whether, as I said before, in terms of the museum education, corporate education, community education, or any one of those various strands that we tackle. The MA and the PhD programs are equally so. Normally people are already teachers or educators when they come on those programs, and what the qualification leads to is an enhancement of their professional kudos and status. What you're looking at are really inspirational, exciting programs, and we very much look forward to seeing you when you come.